Dear friends, ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கு உங்கள் முன்னால் வந்து இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் அட்ரஸ் பண்ணுறது. எனக்கு முதல்ல கண்ணன் கிரீஷ் அவர்களை பார்த்தப்போ ரொம்ப வித்தியாசமான ஒரு கான்டெக்ஸ்ட்டு. எங்கள் பார்ட்டியில் எம்ஜிஆர் பிறந்த நாள் 100வது விழா கொண்டாடிட்டு இருந்தோம். அப்போது ஒரு 10,000 பேர் அந்த ஆடியன்ஸ். அதில் எங்கள் ஆர்பி உதயகுமார் மினிஸ்டர் வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு வித்தியாசமாக பண்ணணும்னு நினச்சிட்டு அவர் கொண்டு வந்து விட்டார். ஒரு 10,000 பேர் முன்னால் பொலிட்டிக்கல் ஆடியன்ஸ், ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் நிறையா இருந்தாங்க அந்த எம்ஜிஆர் நூற்றாண்டு விழாவில். அது எந்த ஊர்னு எனக்கு ஞாபகம் இல்லை. சடன்லி ஐ சி திஸ் பர்சன், திருவள்ளூர் டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட். அப்போ வந்து சடன்லி திஸ் பர்சன் ஜம்பிங் ஆல் ஓவர் த பிளேஸ். அப்படியே வந்து துடிப்பாக ஓடிட்டு இருந்தார். ஒரு வளர்ச்சியை பற்றி பேசிட்டு இருந்தார். He was trying to, I think some of you are Bangalore, so let me switch to English. So நிறைய thoughts packed into ஒரு 1 hour நினைக்கிறேன். I think he held the audience. பயங்கர ரேஞ்ச். We had ரொம்ப hardcore party people who were there in few rows. You had the school children ranging from 6th standard to +2 at another level. And we had a lot of the self-help group women who were sitting on one side. I saw this person with amazement, and he used all Indian film songs in the backdrop. ஒரு அதோ அந்த பறவை போல ரேஞ்சில் இருந்து அன்பிலார் எல்லாம் தமக்குரியர் இந்த பக்கம். So he meshed about 10-12 MGR songs and made some very powerful ideas to come in. The heart of it was Thiru K. I was very amazed that you could address an audience like this. And then I realized he was a doctor, that was a psychiatrist. The image of psychiatrist we have today is one of, in the couch, you have a couch where you put your patients, get them to go back in childhood, and all the images we have of psychiatrists. And it was really, it all got blasted away. And my mind went back to 2000 when Lata, my wife, and I, we were invited by the US government for a Eisenhower fellowship. That was before I came into politics, where I was seen as an industry leader, having promoted this company called Mafa. And US government invited us for an Eisenhower fellowship. Dwight Eisenhower, in his name, they had a fellowship. So we both went there, spent 2 months. And as a part of this program, we were to meet Thiru K for a one-day event in Phoenix, which state? Arizona. We spent a day with him. That was another amazing experience. More than anything else, it was a large hall with almost 3,000 people who were there, and he could do very customized connect. If you see, for instance, 2 people speaking like that, he would exactly hold their attention, exactly like the way you have something to say. He would exactly hold their attention by addressing something very sharp on you. You know, like an arrow, it will pierce through you. That someone could do 3,000 people made me think of something I had in my school. In my school, in my village near Shivakasi, they always used to bring a guy whom they used to call as a Dasavadani. You know, Dasavadani, the days are gone. There was a, 30-40 years back, when these are guys who could do 10 things together. They would answer questions on Thirukural. There's a guy called Subaya, who I remember visibly. And he used to have somebody touching him with a flower, and he'll exactly know how many times the flower has been touched on his shoulders. And there will be some ring happening in the corner of the school, and he will know how many times the bell has rung. And he will answer people in different domains, 10 different activities simultaneously. And India used to have a suite of them, Dasavadanis, Ashtavadanis, Dasavada, 100 things they will do simultaneously. Whatever the number you call it as. I think there was the kind of image I had of this person, Thiru K, was someone who could actually do 100 things simultaneously. Later on, when I read his words, of course, I had read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Even in my MBA, it was almost a prescribed text for us when we did the program with XLRI. And of course, the later versions of whatever Stephen Covey did and said. It was an equal surprise when Franklin Covey tried coming into India. We were one of the people in MAFA. We wanted to actually take the franchise because I had worked with another similar model which called itself the Bulletproof Manager. And we had done that earlier, so we wanted to take that. And I actually never believed that this can be packaged even for the corporates. I know that many things have happened around the world and all that. I never thought this could be capsuled for schools, enlivening it with so many things, enlivening it with skits, enlivening it with pictures. I think I went to the Jain Public School, I think they were here, and I went to that school. The first time I saw these pictures hanging on the walls, and I was very delighted to see how the school children had been infused with the ideas. Some of them initially I thought this may be memory, recall, reproduction. But when I saw the kids actually internalizing the ideas, especially idea like synergize, it's very tough even for the corporates for you to communicate. But when I saw the children with simple exercises, simple games, some games devised by them in Jain Public School, when I saw that, then I realized that it can be a very powerful idea. And very rarely do you get people, there's a punchline which says, those who can do, those who can't train. Okay, so hardly do you see trainers as great institution builders. When I see Kannan, Dr. Kannan Girish, I think this dictum has been proved wrong. I can see in him a powerful trainer and at the same time a powerful institution builder. And I think it's hats off to him and hats off to what Stephen Covey would have dreamed. Recently I read another book where a character like Stephen Covey is cast. In this book, there's a book called 5 a.m. Club. It reminded me exactly how Stephen Covey held the audience spellbound. The character is called Spellbinder in this particular book. And I really thought if there is one spellbinder among us, it will be Kannan Girish. And I would really wish all the schools which have taken this path of embedding values. In India, I think one of the key strengths we have is that we have a society founded on values. And the great difficulty we have is to not let the school system take away the values from them with which they are born in this country. The 5,000 years of culture and the wisdom of the past cannot transfer by DNA alone. It has to be stimulated in the schools, and as my friend Marvel said, so it's so very gisted out wisdom of many streams of thoughts. He mentioned about Dhammapatha, he mentioned about Bhagavad Gita, he mentioned about many other scriptural traditions. I think he said it right. I think it seems to be really the gisted out wisdom of all these. Begin with the end in mind, or synergize, or first things first. It seems so easy. But when all of us look at those matrices and stories, the PPC story, the production and production capability, it made a lot of impact in my mind. To have the man, the goose which laid the golden egg, and some of it is really crafted in stone, written in blood into your system. Just by reading a book that it can happen, just by going through a seminar it can happen. No, in my view, whatever they have put together, I think the pedagogy is phenomenal. The kind of training aids that they have seem to be exceptional. And I think in these days of linking skills which are taught in the course to the values that they pick up, I think it's a phenomenal idea that Franklin Covey has come into India through Livelife, correct? Livelife, and I think it must be one of the very few exercises where cognitive and experiential parts of learning are coming together. And as an HR person, when I see that, I'm very amazed. Probably, I think Franklin Covey must probably also do a similar model for the politicians. There are quite a few, I think, in this country who would be very thrilled to do this. In fact, I was very fondly recollecting one of the things I did with Mr. Vijayakant's party. I used to start doing training programs. We used to have these micro labs for them. I think it was a good experience. Vijayakant captain used to encourage that. So we used to do this kind of sit together kind of scenes where people used to play skits, small skits by which non-verbal 2-minute skits we were trying to implement in a political setting. And I remember once Rahul Gandhi attempted to create an academy for leadership development, political leadership development. And it of course didn't happen as he planned. He put together a team of people. I wrote one concept note at that point in time for him. Vijay Mahajan was a very trusted person of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He tried doing that. So I'm very seriously mentioning, in my view, I have seen the book he has written on parenting, how the 7 habits can be applied to parenting. I think it would do a yeoman service if Franklin Covey allows you to customize it for India. You build one program where the gist of the 7 habits of highly effective people can be taken to the aspiring politicians here in this country. You would have made a big contribution, and may I request Franklin Covey Chief to give him the autonomy to design the program. You can widen it to public space. You can widen it to maybe not politicians per se. It could be to anybody who aspires to be in public space. I'm sure your impact would be far, far greater, as great as the impact on the next gen, what you're doing currently with the schools and colleges can be. All the very best. May your mission succeed for the good of all of us, good of India. Thank you.